All right, buckle up, listeners, because this time on Deep Dive, things are going to get primal. We're talking indie games, specifically how a simple game concept, like just a basic idea jotted down, can sometimes hint at some seriously wild ambitions.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And trust me, the one we're diving into today definitely falls into that category.
Okay, I am ready. Lay it on me.
All right, so picture this. Multiplayer Cavemen.
Okay.
At first glance, you might think, okay, another dinosaur survival game, and yeah, on the surface, that tracks. You're building
Yeah.
villages with your friends, gathering resources, crafting weapons, the whole shebang. The whole trying not to become Dino Chow thing is definitely a recurring theme.
Makes sense.
But what really grabbed me, reading through this concept doc, was the sheer amount of depth they're aiming for.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, they throw around terms like advanced inventory and even a complex holstering system. Like, am I crazy, or does that seem a tad excessive for, like, picking berries and hightailing it from velociraptors?
Yeah. You're not wrong to raise an eyebrow at that. See, with survival RPGs, how you manage your inventory, that can literally make or break the entire experience for the player. So when they start mentioning advanced inventory, it gets your mind going. Are we talking weight restrictions? Durability affecting items, maybe even like different characters having different carrying capacities depending on what gear they've got.
And let's not even get started on the whole holstering situation.
Yeah, complex holstering. That implies that switching between your tools, your weapons on the fly, that's not just a flick of a button. There's actual like tactical decision making there.
Which, honestly, that could totally change the pace of the game depending on how they implement it.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, it's not just about staying alive out there.
Right.
We're talking building, we're talking crafting, even gardening gets thrown into the mix. And then they hit us with percentual reward division.
Okay, see, that one jumped out to me too, because most survival games out there, they keep things simple. You share the loot, everyone's happy.
It's exactly.
But a system that actually sits there and calculates, like, who contributed what to earn their share.
Wow.
Now you're talking about emphasizing teamwork as a core mechanic. And who knows what kind of, like, social dynamics that could create when you've got players potentially, like, competing for who gets the biggest cut at the end of a raid.
Especially with the whole cooperative Andy PvP modes thing they mentioned.
Oh, yeah. They're really leaning into that whole, can you survive with your friends or will you turn on them for a bigger pile of dinosaur meat dilemma.
It's like they took the classic survival RPG formula and said, let's crank up the social tension to 11.
Exactly. And the thing is, this is all before we even touch on the features they're packing into the game world itself. I'm talking day-night cycles, I'm talking swimming and diving mechanics. They even mention the ability to ride dinosaurs or wagons.
Wait, hold on, back up a second. Are we talking, like, chariots here? Are we going to see some prehistoric chariot racing action in this game?
Whoa, now let's not get ahead of ourselves, all right? The point is, they're clearly not shying away from creating a rich, immersive world.
No, they are not.
And all of this is being built on a server-based saving system, which is huge for persistent online play. This tells us a couple of things right off the bat. One, they mean business about this whole online multiplayer thing. And two, it explains why they put so much emphasis on needing a stable and fast internet connection. I mean, can you imagine trying to coordinate an escape from a T-Rex stampede with a bad connection? Recipe for disaster.
Especially in a game that's trying to be this fast-paced.
Exactly. And that's where those co-op and PvP elements we talked about come back into play, right? Because now you've got to factor in, will players naturally fall into specific roles within their group? The builders, the crafters, the dino wranglers.
Right.
And how will those alliances and rivalries, potentially even betrayals, play out against this prehistoric backdrop? It's ambitious, to say the least.
It is incredibly ambitious. But here's the million-dollar question. Can they stick the landing?
That's the thing about ambition, right? There's a fine line between going big and spreading yourself too thin.
Right, because there's a real risk of multiplayer Cavemen just collapsing under the weight of its own features,
Yeah.
So what do you think? Too much or just right?
Honestly, it's too early to tell for sure. Game development's tricky like that.
Sure.
But what I will say is this concept document, it screams passion. This dev team, they're clearly in love with this genre, and they really want to create something special, something unique. Now, will they be able to take all these pieces, all these ambitious ideas, and actually make them fit together into a cohesive experience that's actually fun to play? That remains to be seen.
Big question mark there. But for you listeners out there, here's what we're looking at. A game that's promising a seriously deep, seriously complex survival experience. It's jam-packed with features, and frankly, it oozes potential. But will it deliver? That's the question. And maybe more importantly, is this the kind of prehistoric chaos you'd want to jump into with your friends? We want to hear your take on this. Hit us up on the usual channels and let us know your thoughts because we are dying to know.